Three, two, one, and we're live. Okay, we're live.
We are.
All right. So this evening, Marla and I wanted to talk about a couple things. So I'm going to try it this way. I've been thinking about this for a while now, and the idea is this is just one way to look at things. Of course, everything I'm presenting is just my perspective or my perspective. It's not the only perspective. What I've been doing is trying to come up with creative ways to explain things that will help others and myself to better connect some dots. Okay. So the idea is this: if we kind of look at the matrix, if we kind of look at the whole matrix and the idea of 3D, 4D Earth and what's going on here, there are so many things obviously to include or potentially discuss. It becomes a matter of what do you choose or to include or not include, to discard. And here's an idea. Okay. Now, if you think of like world events and information and systems and theories and possibilities in like 3 graduated levels. I don't know what else to do, how to do this. So like, let's say like a bachelor's degree, BA, BS, a master's, and a PhD. Okay, the idea might be this. We could say at the bachelor level, it's about information. Okay, I'm just going to write info. It's about info, let's say learning, reading. Learning can be reading a book, watching videos, talking with friends, what have you. Learning about some things, gathering info, learning, gathering info and learning. And I'm gonna say info and learning. And now, because I know I tend to pick on these issues, it's only because, after, good Lord, 7 years of studying this stuff, it seems to be at the crux of the issue. I'm not saying it is.
You mean in the Matrix?
Yes, in the Matrix, in the world, in Earth, on Earth, okay? Is banks and money, government, okay? Now, and I know this is an important thing I also want to touch on, because many people will say and have said, and I agree, that which we give energy to expands. Okay, so if I talk about bankers being bad, being not good or unhelpful, or the government being unhelpful, or whatever thing and being unhelpful, some would say that's not the best approach. Okay, and I get that. I have to ask myself, if you want to sit in a lotus position and meditate all day long and poop rainbows and urinate, rainbows, whatever, that's great. That's your thing. That's cool. I get that. And I don't say try. How can I be a conscious, living, concerned human being on this earth and pretend there's no child trafficking, there's no money manipulation, there's no corporate greed, there's no vaccinations killing, on and on and on. How can I be alive in this world and pretend that's not happening? Now, you take that for what it's worth. I'm not all love and light and rainbows all the time. In fact, probably not even very often, because I'm fed up. And honestly, if you're not, I gotta wonder if you're paying attention, or you really care about, or you even think about what the hell's going on here. I mean, every tax dollar you pay, you can Google this. Ronald Reagan, 1982, early 80s, Grace Commission report. Ronald Reagan, Grace Commission report, 1982, I believe it was. 1981, shortly thereafter, he had an assassination attempt, because his Grace Commission report revealed that 99 cents of every dollar you pay in taxes is going to pay the interest on the national debt. Fact check me. Fact check me. It has been that way for a long time. You have to work, 4 months, 5 months to pay your taxes every year? You have to work almost half a year just to have enough to pay the government so they can pay the bankers off on the interest of the money they borrow from them. Okay, I'll stop. I know most of you already know this, but for God's sake, this is the definition of insanity. And I know people think I'm crazy, that I'm insane. You tell me what's insane. That 330 million of us keep doing this year after year, and they can engage in war. They can make their own health care. They have killer healthcare. Screw you guys. Now,
Debt is a fiction.
and it's all fake money to begin with, right?
That's what Jason's comment
Oh,
was.
is Jason here?
Yes.
Great. Tell him to feel free to type in comments.
Yes,
All
thank
fake,
you,
and then
Jason.
you figure out it's all fake money to begin with, right? The idea is this. The idea is this. Okay, all right, let's just say originally there was like a pile of gold. I realize this is red colored, and it's not a great drawing. But let's just say this gold bar signifies the gold that once existed. Let me tell you what, from this one gold bar that's worth, let's say it's $1 trillion, it's huge. There has been loaned and reloaned and reshuffled probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trillions of dollars from this 1 trillion gold bar. And it's doled out in these things we call dollar bills, and it's numbers on your computer screen, and it's all fake. It's worth nothing, okay? Zero. Now, I understand I need it too. We all do, and I unfortunately don't always have enough of it. But we're forced to do this because what else are you going to do? You're going to go hungry? You're going to be homeless? You're going to not be able to buy a pair of shoes? What are you going to do? It's the only game in town. You're screwed. And we won't get into all the Bitcoin and other things like that. Those things, we're not even going to get into that. Okay. So once you realize that, all right, info and learning. Once you realize that the money is all bullshit, it's all BS, it's total nonsense, okay? Total bullshit, okay? And then you realize every war that's ever been started has been over gold, oil, and drugs, right? It's about the heroin, it's about the oil, it's about the gold, stealing other countries' gold, because we don't have any left. All right, so, pardon my language, I'm a little feisty tonight. I've had enough of this, and how other people seem to not get this, or, and I don't mean to be forceful with my views. You don't have to get it, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to agree with it. And I know probably 90% of the people who watch this, I'm preaching to the choir, so I apologize. It's absolutely insane, right? Okay, so we give the government all this. All right, so let me stop with that. I'm getting way too 3D. Okay, so be a bachelor's in truth. I don't know what you want to call this. Let's say a degree in truth. This feels lame at this
Is
point.
it knowledge too?
Information,
Yeah.
knowledge, okay. So, all right, in the bachelor's level, you gather information, you read some books, you learn some things, you find out the whole thing is set up as a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme gone haywire. And you realize the system isn't broken, it was designed this way. That's my take on it, what it's worth. I mean, you know, you can say the system's broken. Yeah, it's broken. It's broken because it was designed to be broken. It's designed to fuck you over. It's designed to fuck me over. It's designed to screw all of us. But there's no other game in town, so what are you going to do? And I apologize for my language. All right, so the bachelor's level, you info and you learn the truth about all the systems. Well, no, excuse me. You learn about these things that happen in the world, the false flags, and why the wars are started, and why they're all corrupt, and why we keep having to vote for criminals every freaking 4 years. All right, so at the master's level, I'm going to call this more about this. It starts to move into more about the how and the why. Okay, it moves into more about how, why the systems exist and are set up the way they are. Okay, and so you start to learn. Well, it was as we've talked about recently. Many of you know. Jason knows if he's still on. He can feel free to type in some.
He
facts.
did. He said the system is designed to screw us over.
Thank you. What more do you need? I mean,
There is a reason, he said.
been there, got the t-shirt, you know, have the back taxes to prove it, or whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm being silly. I don't pay taxes anymore. I think that's, never mind, I won't say that. Well, I don't, but, you know, if you choose to, that's fine, I guess. It's all going to pay the national debt, I assure you. And then they just print more fake money to keep everything else running. And they can print as much as they want, okay? It's been said that the Rothschilds are worth around 500 trillion. I think that's a conservative estimate. I would guess it's closer to double that. It doesn't matter. All right. Okay, so at the master's level, you start to learn how and why the government's screwed up and has been screwed up for years and will be screwed up for years unless we restore the Constitution, restore the Republic, get 80 to 90% of them the hell out, which we just never can do. And you know, wah. You know, the fucking Clintons and the Bushes and whoever else go around doing all these horrible things in the world. And wah, FBI just can't seem to catch them. Darn, they seem to escape every time. How do they do it? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? They can probably watch me right now, watch us right now, you know, remotely. And I don't give a shit. I hope they are. And they can't figure out the Clintons are corrupt. Just can't press charges on them. Fucking Comey. That bullshit. Oh, he wrote the letter to excuse Hillary 3 months before the investigation was done. I mean, what a friggin' farce. Okay. I apologize.
Breathe.
And the Bush family, don't get me started. This is not a Democrat-Republican thing. I'm not leaving anybody out of this party. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so at the master's level, you start to realize how it was set up, why it's set up, how and why they screw us over, and you know, what are we going to do? And this is what if 95% of us are going, what do we do? What do we do? I want to encourage you to listen and look at the work of Sasha Stone, Santos Bonacci, Alan Watts, great philosophers, great thinkers. I don't want to give too many here because I could start on a long list. But Sasha Stone is a voice and a man out there who is, if we all, man, woman, and child, would just do 1% of what this guy's doing, this would change overnight, or by next week, this would all be a bad memory. Okay. And I thank him for his inspiration many times. He's an amazing speaker. And you talk about a guy who will just put it out there with compassion, like, my God, people, have you had enough of this yet? You know, he's so fed up. Anyway, and I don't mean to speak for him. If I think he's seen my videos, and I appreciate him watching. But anyway, I digress. Learn about what the hell's going on. Learn about how and why they're set up this way, and that ultimately you could pay 90% in taxes every year, and this country would still be in debt. It would still be in debt. You can give them every penny you make, every one of us, and we're still fucked. We're still screwed. Okay? All right. I'm a little tired tonight. Okay, so you at the bachelor's level, let's just say, you know, step one, info, learning, understand, then you meld into how, you know, then you start scratching your head about 9/11 and false flags and how and why they're done. Oh, it's to scare us. Oh, it's to scare us, so we'll pay our taxes and think we need protection from them. Protection from the boogeyman who creates the boogeyman events. Okay, so then I worked through that for a year or two. And then, now here I come. Here we go. Now I'm going to relax a
The
little bit.
fiction is not real. Mayday is what Jason says.
Mayday, SOS. Mayday, SOS. So then at the PhD level, or, you know, let's say step 3, I don't know. This is my own invention here. Let's say here is where I can relax a little bit. And I start learning about spiritual things, okay? And spirituality, and 5D, and other dimensions, and other energies in existence, and other potentials. Now, this is also the crux of where many people, and I want to address this, because this is where many people will say, the New Age, because I don't really like the term New Age, but it doesn't matter what I like. The idea of New Age, or spirituality, or 5D, or transcending, or ascension, some have said it's all nonsense, that this is more cabal bullshit to just make you pacified and be at peace with how much they screw us over. I get that perspective. And there may be some people watching this who have that perspective, and I appreciate that, and I understand that. I'm gonna respectfully take another avenue. I think there is much to these things, and I don't think it's necessarily all cabal or nonsense or generated to pacify us. Oh, sure it is to some degree. Religion exists so we don't kill our owners. George Carlin said that. Who hasn't figured that out? And I don't mean to disparage.
You're talking about liberal arts, Jason says. Right?
A liberal arts degree? Okay.
Oh, okay.
You can kind of interpret what it says because I can't even read it, so just
Okay.
interpret it. Yeah, okay, so so the idea is then you figure out how it's all set up to screw us, and then you're like, what do I do now, right? What the hell do I do now? Well, you start talking with people on social media, Facebook, and you read their posts, and you follow some, you watch some documentaries, and you read some books, and you listen to some discussions, and you put your heads together in these groups that we have. And okay, so this I have found very helpful, learning about meditation, right, Marla? We know about that.
Yes.
Spirituality, 5D, and this helps. And yet, like days like today, where I work my ass off, and I probably didn't make enough to do much of anything. Is your hand up, Marla?
Yes. Jason's
Please.
comment is, the wizards of contemporary culture have vandalized language.
Wow. The wizards of contemporary culture have vandalized language. Holy crap, dude. Can you come in live? Beautiful.
He also says liberal arts are literally a train of thought that keeps you free.
Yes. Absolutely. So this is, and I appreciate your thoughts, Jason, as always. I mean, this guy, just the gentleman making these comments, I don't know if he wants me to say this, but you may want to send him a friend request or check out his page Within Unity, or his group Within Unity. Beautiful posts in there, and Jason is brilliant thoughts. And so that's kind of how I want to present this, and I want to keep it fairly brief. I hope this makes some sense and might help somebody in some way. So at the PhD level, this is where I start getting to blending and melding all of this, okay? And I talked about blending and melding before. You start blending and melding all the info and the learning, all the how and the why and the understanding of systems. And you blend it all, and this could be, this list could be so enormous, I can't get into it right now, okay? At the PhD level, you're blending and melding everything you've learned. You understand how and why it's set up. And then I do my best to stay in a place of peace and understanding of what it's really about, right? That from a metaphysical perspective or a quantum perspective, it is all a reflection of me. It is all a mirror, and I agree. It is all a mirror. But for the love of God, I can't totally stick my head in the sand and pretend that I don't care that, you're working your ass off to pay the bankers every day. And that we spend $10 trillion a year on military and war. If we would, oh my God, I one time figured out like per day and per hour what we spend on the military and war. It was absolutely mind-boggling. And we don't have enough to help kids go to college or help people buy food or homeless people on the streets. We don't let animals sleep on the street unless we have to. And we've got thousands, tens of thousands, I don't know how many homeless people, how many missing children, how many, oh God, I apologize, I'm going to stop. All right. So this is what I wanted to present, and I'm going to keep it brief. Marla, please go ahead.
One last comment from Jason.
Please.
There's footsteps you are following here, Alan.
Yes, and this path that feels a little less traveled. That feels a little less traveled. I know it's well traveled by many of us, so I apologize because I'm preaching to the choir, and I know that. And there's a wonderful video on YouTube called "What Will It Take?" or "What's It Going to Take? What Does It Take? What Will It Take?" It's about a 5-7 minute video. Like, what will it take for us just to get all our asses in gear, get these crooks out of our lives, and live like we should be living on this planet? Okay, so I'm gonna stop now, and I apologize for my language. And I apologize, if something I said was off color. If you're offended, maybe that's something to be aware of. I can't believe he said this about my government, or I can't believe he said that it's all just a sham and a hoax. How dare that's awful. That's just how dare he? Pearl, this is for you. I mean, for the love of God, people, think about it. How many taxes would God pay? How many politicians would God vote for? How many churches would God go to? I'm telling you, it's not many, if any at all. All right. Thank you for listening and watching. I always invite your comments, questions, suggestions. And thank you for your help, Marla. Thank you, Jason.
Yes.
Peace, my friends.